Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is Monday, the 30th of November, 2020, and this is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. Once again, tonight I'm here with you all. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Manish, Karina, David, and everyone. Okay, so I've been concentrating on the teachings based on what the Buddha told to the Iyesa Kulaputta, or the young man who traveled to the forest, thinking that the world is messy and so terrible, and the Buddha gave him a gradual teachings. And that, based on that, I've been explaining, and so far a couple of days I was explaining about being generous and generosity. Actually, there are many topics and many things to discuss on the generosity, and it's a very vast topic. In the meantime, it's not easy to grasp. And generosity is a base or a foundation ground where we can establish our kindness and compassionate heart towards one another. And again, I would like to thank you, Margaret, for your generous donation that you sent through the post. I received it today, and another day Karina was here offering all the groceries. And meanwhile, other members are coming to offer a dana and other necessaries to the center now and then. So thank you all the members and all the listeners, those who have been so generously providing all the necessary things at the center, and also some generous donations to cover the expenses of the center. So that's really appreciated. And again, this is a part of communal giving. When you look at the teachings of the Buddha, we realize that if you are willing to attain a more merit, then you better plant a tree, or better make the communal halls, or establish the schools or hospitals or religious places, and this will continue merits, and people will appreciate your generous donations towards these places. And that's simply because people are having a benefit from your generous donation. Similarly, the temple is also like that. And monks obviously do not go to work, but live a moral life and live an exemplary life according to the Buddha's teachings, and help expanding or sharing the knowledge how to live happily to you all. So on that basis, again, dana comes the foundation ground, and it's the foundation that one and everyone should learn to let go. It's not just a letting go of the material things, but also letting go of our own ego and personality view, which leads to the liberation. So on the basis of that, I presume that it's sufficient information on the dana those couple of days I've been talking. So, and the second principle, or second teachings that the Buddha talked to this young householder was the morality, or known as a sila. Now, sila, or morality, is quite different compared to any other theistic religion. And obviously everyone knows that Buddhism is a non-theistic religion, and whereas other religions is based on a theistic religion. Like there is some form of a god, the god or the creator is in other faiths and religions, whereas in Buddhism there is no such icon or a creator. So that's why this is known as a theistic, non-theistic religion. That doesn't mean that there are no celestial beings. There are the concept of a celestial beings, but not as the creator. So that's why the sila or the precepts or morality, when we talk about this in terms of the Buddha's teachings, then we have to understand that this is not given by any external so-called the God or the creator, and there is no, again, punishment or rewards of practicing according to the rules and regulations that is given. So such as in other religion, let's say, when I say other religion, that basically means the theistic religion, like a Christianity or Islam or a Jew, or again, these religion has got a sense of a creator, and then a creator has given the rules to follow, and if you do not follow those rules, then you will be punished, and if you follow the rules, then you will be rewarded, like that. Whereas in Buddhism, all the precepts are voluntarily, so it is a psychological boundaries that you are creating for your own goods and benefits. There is no sense of rewards or punishment from anyone else apart from you alone know the cause and consequences of the action that you have done. So that's why there is no divine authority in Buddhist morality. Okay, so it's simply there is, as a result of that, there is no rewards or punishment by breaking the rules or following the rules. So that's why when we talk about the precepts or moral principles, this is basically a training ground. Even when we talk about the 5 precepts, well, in terms of the morality, there are rules that is available for the people and the monastic order to follow, that starts from the 5 precepts. So there are 5 precepts for the householders in general, and then 8 precepts who wants to practice a little bit of a more a spiritual practice, and there is 10 precepts for the novice and the non-novice, and then there are precepts, 227 precepts for the monks, and there are 311 main precepts for the nuns. Okay, and these, when we look at these training or these precepts as a moral ground, then here, now, if you have taken the vow to follow the monastic order, then that's become rules that you have to follow. You shouldn't be breaking those. Again, in case you have even broke that rules, there are consequences that you have to follow as like a trial, not as a divine punishment on that. But when we look at the 5 precepts, which is the general moral ethic or moral principles or ethics, this is not something that Buddha didn't give it to saying that you shouldn't be doing it. So that's why in Buddhism there is no such things is called you can't do it. Okay, because Buddha didn't say that you can't do this, you can't do that, in terms of the moral practices. Simply saying that this is a training ground. So that's why when we say the first precepts in the 5 precepts, it's called Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. So that basically means I undertake the precepts of training not to kill. So training not to kill. So that's why this is a training ground. Yeah? And so that's why all the precepts are basically not like a commandment in Christianity, or it's like one should not commit it. If you're committing, then there will be a punishment, something like that. But this is just like you have created the boundaries, that if you are within that boundary, then you will be in a same kind of a safe haven. But if you break that boundary, then you are creating the disharmony, and it causes a lot of troubles. Suppose you have a barrack and a protection from enemies, and then you have to maintain that boundary as much as you can. The very moment when you break the boundary, or enemies break the boundary, then enemies will come and destroy the whole city, like that. So similarly, the precepts are like that. And similar, again, another simile that you can think of it is like, if you have a child and you are keeping in the room, then you know that how far this child can go, and then there is a boundary for that limit. And if that child crosses that limit, then you will not stay alone. You will rush to save this child or get the child and back to the safe place. So practice of a sila is something like that. The morality is something like that. So that's why, in order to understand the moral or ethics, Buddhist ethics, we have to understand. We have to look at in 3 different foundations. And number 1 is known as in Pali. It's called in Pali. It's called a Kammavada. So there are people thinking that basically teaching us not to do bad and do good things. And this is one of the theories called a Kammavada. So following that every action that we perform, we should be acting only do good or avoid bad things. And this again, you will be familiar with every religion or every faith teaches this concept, Kammavada, do good and avoid bad thing. Yeah? So this is the first foundation to understand. And the second is called a Kiriyavada. And this is basically the recognition of the efficacy of a moral acts. And that means if you do good things, the reward or the result would be good. And if you do bad, then the result would be bad. Right? So that's a Kiriyavada. So your action. Yeah? And then the last one is the Viryavada. And that's again, it's talking about the human endeavor or human effort, and or basically justifying that every human being's deed and efforts. So every human being has got the choice to do or not to do, and working on that. And everything that you do with your effort, then the result will be there. Now, despite of these 3 foundations, again, in general, we do have a belief system that we believe that whatever is happening in our life, whether that's a good or a bad, or whether we are in a very difficult condition, or whether we are in a very a wealthy, or whichever situation we are in, there are a group of people thinking that this is because of the divine wish, or it's because of the divine intervention, or divine has already defined our destiny, and that's why we are in that situation. We have no control over it apart from just praying to that divine. So that's the first one, and in Pali it is known as Isara Nimmana. Nimmana means creation, and Isara means the divine gods, like that. So it's a creation of the God. That's why we are in that situation, and this is one form of a belief or a view that exists. So predominant. It's like a predetermined by the Creator. And the second one is called Pubbha Kata Hetu. Pubbha Kata Hetu. Pubbha Kata. Pubbha means the previous, and Kata means the action. So every action that you have, any action that you have done in the past, and that's why you are having this in this life. So basically, you are slave of your own karma that you have done in the past, and you have no chance to change it at all. Okay, you have no chance to change it at all. And this concept, again, quite similar to the concept of the karma concept in Hinduism, saying that you can't change your karma. So this is the second group of people. Our faith explains that everything is happening because of my past karma, and that's the second one. Okay. And the third one, that ahetuka pachaya, right? So that means everything is happening simply because there is no cause and effect. It's just the natural, it is happening. There's nothing, no one is intervene in that at all. Okay. So these are the three different views on the reason why people will follow to practice the moral lives. And the Buddha had a good look at these principles, and then he, according to the moral ethic, moral practice, it appears in Buddha's teachings that moral practice are simply a boundary, or a boundary that one can practice to be more stronger, or it's like a trainer, or any sports apprentice is simply training within the four boundaries, continuously following all the rules and regulations that one has to follow, and strictly working on that. So the practice of a morality is something like that. It's like a brewing oneself into that situation with the help of the precepts. So that's why in this term, the morality that Buddha was introducing is not because of any divine introduction of that morality, or not because of things that happen only because of our actions. We have a choice to change, and we have a choice to make it better. That's why it's called a Virya Vada. Okay, it means it's our own hand to make it better or worse. So the practice of a morality is basically we are living in the boundary and growing ourselves in the environment that will be helpful and beneficial for ourselves in the future. So that's why in the Rahula Vada Sutta, where the Buddha was talking to Rahula, that whatever you are doing, whether you are speaking, whether you are acting, or whether you are thinking, after you have reconsidering it, after you have investigated if that's unwholesome, unbeneficial, and harmful to you and anyone else, then do not do it. Yeah? And then in the future, if these things is harmful, then again do not do that. Okay? So like that. And meanwhile, there was a one moment when after Buddha's stepmother Prajapati Gautami, she became the first nun in a Buddha's dispensation. After she became a nun, along with other ladies, one day she approached to the Buddha and asking that how far she has understood the teachings of the Buddha, and she simply went and checked her practice with the Buddha and asking that, Venerable Sir, how do I know that I am progressed in this spiritual journey? And the Buddha said that, how do you know? So check yourself, that anything that you are doing, if that is for dispassion or passion, anything that you are doing, is that for relinquishing or accumulation, and so and so. And with that, Buddha simply, asking her back, checking that what is good and what is bad. And this all comes down to each and individual's effort to make it better or worse. So it's entirely up to each and individual to practice or not to practice. And there is no Buddha who will come and say to you that, oh, you should be practicing this and you are not practicing this and I will punish you, go to hell, like that. There is no such things like that. Or you have been so honest and you're praying to me every day, praying and chanting and meditating in front of me every day. I'm so impressed and I will send you to the heavens, like that. So there is no such things in Buddhism. It's all up to down to our own effort and how much we practice and how much we understand. So it's just clicked in my head that in the past, before I became a monk, and I used to read the scripture called The Legend of the Lord Shiva. And every year for one whole month we have to read chapter by chapter. And in that legend of the Lord Shiva, will repeat so many times saying that, oh, because you neglected the prayings to the Lord Sostani, and then because of that you will be sent to the hells, and then because you have you have disobeyed the Lord Shiva's instructions, now I will send you to the hell, something like that. And meanwhile, again, someone who is meditating and praying for him and Lord Shiva for many years, and then somehow the Lord Shiva becomes so pleased with that and come down and talk to this person who is meditating and say, why are you meditating, why you're calling my name for so many years? And then this person would say, oh Lord, I want to have a blessings from you. And the Lord say, now what sort of a blessings would you like? And then at that time, whatever this person asks, the Lord Shiva will grant, although in the future may be chaos, and even gods and demons had a war so many times, like that. So not like that at all. Even like other theistic religion, that if you do not follow the instructions of the Creator, the God, then you will be punished in a hell forever, eternity, like that. And if you're honest and praying of the God, in the name of the God, then you will be rewarded to into the heavens, like that. So such things is not in the Buddhism. Okay, the moral practice or ethical practice in Buddhism is basically the psychological, and it's up to you. And all what you need to be mindful that whatever you are doing, it has an effect, and every action that you are performing, it has an effect to not only to you but also other members, surroundings, and that affects to the whole system as well. So it's up to each and individual's practice that brings harmony to oneself and then to others. And meanwhile, this practice of morality is a foundation ground where we can see our mind properly, and then ability to see that how much cluster has got in our mind, and we will be able to let it come out and free from this cluster. So without having a moral practice, it would be very difficult to get the progress in the meditation. So this is on the Buddhist morality. Thank you everyone for listening, and may you all be well and happy, and may the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. In a few moments time we're going to have an evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Thank you.